to the beat, that's cool. Got to look me up on Instagram right here too. Got to feel it in his line, spit that flow. My brother on the mic, he getting this on video, that's real. He got the Sony cam. Thank you for the donation, I appreciate you, man. Right there, feeling it, killing it is live. In Union Square, Tuesday night vibe. Right here, man, the vocal that deep. This is freestyle, I be writing rhymes in my sleep. Make sure you give me your video, tag me on it too. I got my info on the sign if you wanna get that too. It's the real unscripted, kicking all these lines. My brother walking with his lady on the day night fine. He got the brown jacket, phone in his hand. She got the white blouse with the pink pants. Walking up to her, she got her hair in a bun. See my brother walking up to the block, I see you young. With your lady on the side, yo, how you feel, King? With the backpack, that rap, you got to feel me, man, right here.
Welcome back, viewers.
My sister got the paisley pants.
Well, it's your half-assed reporter, James Kalm, and I am not on my bikes today, but I have strolled down into my local neighborhood, Red Hook, and we're going to wander in here to the Wall Gallery and look at an exhibition of Richard Mock's work titled Mock-Up, and we're actually going to chat with this gentleman, Scott Pfaffman, about the late great, would you call him I guess he wanted to be a Red Hook artist, a Brooklyn artist, Richard Mock. And you've got a show here of mostly work from any particular period, is this?
It covers 30 years.
30 years of work.
This is the earliest, this 1977 shamanistic eye portrait.
Okay, let me take a sweep here of the installation.
And goes up through the last paintings he did in about 2003. Richard died in 2006.
Okay, and I would remind viewers that we came in and saw a print show of Richard's work at the Kellner Drawing Center probably about, what was that, a year ago?
I think it was a year ago this summer.
Well, Richard was kind of a well-known local character, kind of a radical, very much politically active and causing trouble. I'll give you a little close-up here on the invitation. Do we have any titles for these pieces? This is always a problem.
From time to time, there are titles written on the back.
Okay, well, look at this one.
But not on this one.
Okay.
The most titled piece is this one. Mickey Mouse Never Dies. And this is the centerpiece of the show, I think, in some way.
You consider these 4 panels as a single piece?
This is a 4-panel painting.
This is a 4-panel painting.
Called Mickey Mouse Never Dies from 1983.
Okay, and I would say that these are...
This might have been at Rosa Esmond, but I'm not sure.
These are oil on canvas? Is that what we're looking at?
5 by 6 feet.
That's what I was going to say, 5 by 6 feet.
Until recently, they were on tubes, rolled up. So these hadn't seen... This is the first time these have been out in at least 20 years.
And you said these are from 82?
83.
83. Well, I'll give you a brief art history lesson here. I think that 83 would be about the peak of the trans-avant-garde, the neo-expressionist movement. Would you say that Richard would be a kind of a neo-expressionist?
At this stage, you know, his career started with a bunch of outsized, giant-scale fabric projects, fabric installation projects.
Okay, I like this. We've got the back of the Mickey Mouse.
And that's the back of Mickey Mouse's head.
Back of Mickey's head.
And then Richard and I met each other in 1977 at a place called Art Park up in Lewiston, New York. He was there doing a project called Who Sees You See. He was painting portraits of people's eyes on big canvases. You would sit like as a portrait would sitter, and he would paint your eyes in pairs that covered these large canvases. It was quite a piece, and I was there helping another sculptor, a guy named Lyman Kipp.
Oh, I've heard of Lyman.
And yeah, he was my mentor.
Kind of a minimalist, though, wasn't Lyman? Kind of a minimalist,
a little bit, yeah.
hard-edged, kind of
Yeah.
influenced by Richard Smith and those guys. Actually, I was impressed with this piece here with the eyes.
You need a slightly better vantage. You've got this print table in the way.
Yeah, that's okay.
This is right when we met, in '77.
And of course,
then probably before he had a place at 10 Bleecker Street. I think this was painted on the Bleecker Street studio.
okay, so he was also involved in the Soho scene from the early period here. Of course, so when I see something like this, I kind of think of some of Picabbia's paintings with his kind of his monster period with all the eyeballs.
That's a good take, yeah.
So we were also talking about the fact that you're kind of handling aspects of Richard's estate and have been for several years. What is that responsibility like?
It was an accident, like so many things
Yes.
of this nature are. We had adjacent storage spaces in a facility here in the neighborhood, and when Richard became ill, or at least too ill to maintain a studio, we melded the two storage spaces to save money, and because I could do whatever we needed to do, you know. And from that point on, whenever that was, 2002, 2006, he passed away. And then you stay busy with other projects.
Right.
This space was a special kind of project a friend of mine helped us with.
Let me ask you this: was this underwater during Sandy? Was this?
Oh yeah,
this was all
waist.
underwater. Okay.
We're about waist height here in Sandy.
Yeah, I'll remind viewers that Red Hook, Brooklyn, where we're at, was one of the hardest hit neighborhoods in all of New York City. And if it was only up to your waist, then this was actually one of the higher pieces of ground in the neighborhood. We saw a lady that brought in this piece. This looks like kind of part of the Mickey Mouse thing here. It says,
It is.
okay,
It is
1980.
this era, and then.
Well, I told you that I covered a little show by Marcus Lupertz about Michaels Werner, and Marcus Lupertz had a bunch of kind of abstract Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck paintings, and maybe I'll splice one in here. You can actually see that there's a certain relationship about the way they were thinking about kind of pop art in a kind of expressionistic way. Tell us.
There's Guston in there in a big way too.
Right.
I think that's been the most quoted. I think when people see these early 80s paintings, the influence of Guston is pretty clear.
He was very influential. Tell us a little bit about the overall abstract pieces.
So in '83, when this project finished up, the paintings started to become, we don't have any here, we shipped all these paintings off to Colorado from a studio that he had in Mexico, or Rinconada. They were a lot like the mural that he did at Socrates Park. Remember this project? Socrates Park inaugural exhibition had a mural painted on the building right next to the sculpture park. And that mural began a...
It's out near Mark DeSavero's studio,
Mark
too.
DeSavero's Socrates Sculpture Park.
Right.
And that, here's some stuff from '85, Brooke Alexander. So you can see this kind of diagrammatic thing happening.
You know what is funny is you could put that into a gallery right now and everybody would look at that and go, who's the 20-year-old that did that? Or the 25-year-old that did that?
So these are out there somewhere.
But then he went into this more overall.
Well, they got
kind
more
of
and more
thing.
abstract. If you look at if you look at the fields of these,
Yes.
I mean, charitably, you can see the same things happening, but just
It ends up overwhelming the
reduced-
entire picture plane.
reduced in
Right.
scale, you know.
And all these are oil as well, huh?
These are all oil on canvas, yeah. And of course, he's well known for the prints in the New York Times. The show you mentioned that the Kentler,
Right.
the Kentler did.
And he actually produced
These are all
500 of these, or how many hundreds of these, right?
There are probably thousands of prints.
And this is all linoleum blocks? Is that what these are?
Lino blocks. And these are all, I think, these are all especially nice, I guess, if you will, because he printed them. These are prints he made on his press. And they're immaculate.
They are. Those are beautiful. And is that
So this
Reeves?
is right towards the end, too, 2002.
Reeves BFK? Is that what he's printing on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Let's see what else.
Should have a watermark on there. Wonderful prints. I'm going to keep moving around and looking at the paintings,
Good idea.
Scott. And you were saying that he did have a show that was just the kind of the abstract field pieces?
And we're having a little hard time cataloging it. He got permission from Jeanette Ingerman
Yes.
to use the space that they had on Broadway. They rented a loft. It seems to me it was between Broome and Spring on Broadway. And he and I hung 50 of these.
And those are what, 24-inch squares?
22 by 24.
22 by 24.
And he hung, like I say, 50 of them. And we're not even sure what year that was, I have to say.
1997 is what it says on
this
the
is
back.
this is from
Richard
7.
Mock Blissful Orbit. Okay, that was Blissful Obit.
Southern Breeze, Doorway, 1997. But these span a period from 97 to all the way up to 2002. So sometime during that period, he arranged for this informal showing at Exit Art.
Yes.
I have a diagram of the installation, but I have otherwise little or no information about it.
Well,
We're casting out inquiries.
and these are some of the pieces that are still rolled. Is that
Yeah,
what these are too as
exactly.
well? Okay, yes. You know, whether he was painting kind of the weird figurative pieces or these more abstract kind of overall field pieces, you can just look at the work and sense that he had a feel for the paint, he had a feel for the materials and the brush strokes. And you know, this is a great example. He's got parts of this which is kind of thickly painted and smudged on with a knife. He's got thin parts of it that are kind of dripped in there. And there were some things I was looking at that almost looks like something out of a spray can, but I'm imagining he probably took a brush and kind of flipped it on the end and splattered it like you would with a toothbrush on a
He might have had one of
ground or
those
something.
sprayers too. Remember
Could have
those
had a
old
sprayer.
varnish sprayers we
Sure,
used to use?
sure.
The curation of this collection has been a challenge because of the amount of territory he covered in these 30 years. But one thing I've noticed, of course, being close with him these last 2 or 3 months, is how similar the paint handling is.
Yes.
And how virtuoso his command of the medium.
Could I ask you to do one little favor for me? I'd love to go in and see the Olympic portraits just to give people. I want to see. You say this was, what year was this?
1980.
Okay, so people, look at this.
So they're 100
1980, he was commissioned by
Grumbacher Paint
Paint.
to do Olympic portraits. This came out of a project that started here with a series of portraits that he tried to get Holly Solomon to show in '79. And Holly agreed to the show and at the last minute withdrew.
Boy, that is the story I've heard so many times about.
And this is when he painted the hoofs. So he painted the hoofs over the portraits that were supposed to be shown at Holly Solomon's. And somehow that led to this proposal to Grumbacher.
And there was
And
how
they
many?
gave it to him.
How many portraits in the entire selection?
144.
144
Lauren,
from the 1980.
12 boxes of 6 canvases each.
Right.
We
see that.
24 boxes.
Okay, so I just wanted people to start to realize the kind of interesting challenge it is when you're taking over someone's estate and they're as prolific as Richard was. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up now. Scott Pfaffman here at the Wall Gallery.
Thank you.
This has been a real treat, kind of an insider's view of painting here in Red Hook. Yes, viewers, well, we scurried over to Chelsea and we're going to pop into the Gagosian Gallery. And I think this is going to be an interesting comparison and contrasts here. We're going to bop in here to this show by Urs Fischer, titled Denominator. Well, we just saw Richard Mock, and Urs is also a Red Hook artist. It's kind of the other end of the spectrum. I think Urs is probably one of the more successful, well-known, well-financed artists in the world right now, and he's got a studio that was probably only a few blocks away from the Wall Gallery and where Richard was doing his painting. This piece is titled Chaos Number 501. This is raw data files, instructions for rendering the artwork in motion, digital rendering, URL and LED screen. This is 160 by 349 inch by 2 inches. So we're talking about a massive video screen, LED screen. I'll read a little bit from the press release. Chaos 501 is the culmination of a multi-year series of digital sculptures. The inaugural visualization on view in New York is a two-dimensional rendering displayed on a 14 by 30 foot 8K wall display in which all 1,000 digital objects from Chaos series move independently of each other through a defined space. Each element in this Chaos series is based on an everyday object that has undergone a metamorphosis from physical to digital existence through a variety of scanning processes. The details and imperfections found in the physical world are intentionally preserved. Well, I know this piece has gotten a lot of attention, and it's quite impressive. You have to go in and spend a lot of time and kind of snuggle up to this to look at it to get the effect of some of the details. I'm always impressed with this kind of technical prowess and some of the new technologies, although I am kind of suspicious about these things. So we're going to sneak back here in the back side of Chaos 501, and this is the hardware. This is all the computer programs and the stuff that is rendering all this imagery. And that's almost as impressive as the show. This is titled People 2022. Gypsum board, metal studs, plywood, painting facsimiles, canvas, wood panel, gesso, primer, oil, gold leaf varnish, digital files, and projections. This is variable dimensions. Here's the description. People is a full-scale reconstruction of room 43 of the National Gallery, overlaid with a 360-degree projection of heads sourced from online videos. In this installation, the turn-of-the-century museum interior becomes a medium, illuminating Occidental culture at the moment of its decoupling from institutional power and transforming it into an individualized form of expression. The projected heads representing thousands of people in the act of sharing their opinions with remote audiences. Well, I kind of appreciated this. I was actually looking at some of their reproduced studies here, and that's an imitation Van Gogh sunflowers, and they're not great, they're not perfect, but they're not bad either. The other thing I thought was interesting was that this is like the post-impressionists gallery. So we've got the Gauguin, the Van Goghs, the Degas, Damien Rousseau, and the Seurats. And I thought that one of the ironic things about this is that it's like people giving their impressions of the post-impressionists. So it's your post-impression of the impressionists. Also, it's totally silent. So in that way, when they talk about decoupling the gallery or the museum from institutions of power, maybe that's not quite so accurate, or at least not for this viewer. I think there's another interesting feature that we'll take a look at here. Urs spent a lot of time building this whole architectural installation. As we walk behind the sheetrock, you can see that this is all a prop. This is like a set, and look at all the vaulted ceilings and all the architectural details that they've put in there with the ribbing and all kinds of other fancy wainscoting and molding and things. I was going to say most of these people are pretty attractive. I don't think they went out and looked for the ugly people that were making their comments. And again, so you can see, I think this is an important part for us to show that this is all kind of artificial. This is actually the title piece of the show. This is called Denominator 2020 to 2022. Database algorithms in LED cube. This is 141 by 141 by 141. In a certain way, you could say that this relates to a certain kind of minimalism. I mean, the basic cube form. Somebody like Don Judd or Richard Serra would be working with that. And then Urs has kind of gone in there and projected these images. I think this is all taken from TV programs. Let's see what it says. Denominator is a 12-foot cube constructed from LED screens that display a sequence of fragments from international television commercials in a shifting composition that spans the history of the medium. Through the use of AI algorithms and the commercials have been deconstructed into individual shots and then grouped by theme or color. You can like this, share, link it up to all your social media sites, and you can subscribe, and you can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, reviews, and suggestions below. But here in our 18th year, we all ask you to just say, thank you, Kate.
How you feel, Black? That's real.
You know, one of those beautiful things in life.
Ew.
Thank you, guys. I hate my...
Thanks, Kay Joe.
Song has this auto thing.